horizontal projection ባለፈው ቪዲዮ ላይ ስለ projectile motion is part of kinematics two dimensional motion ነው projectile motion ማለት it is a two dimensional motion kinematics ሆኖ two dimensional motion ነው ማለት ነው ስለዚህ እዛ ውስጥ አንድ ቪዲዮ ሰርተን projectile motion inclined projection ማለት ምን ማለት ነው ምለውን ማቴማቲካሊ ሬንጅን ታይምን ቶታል ታይም ማለት ነው እነዛ mathematically express አድርገን ነበር ይሄ ሁለተኛው type of projectile motion ነው horizontal projection ነው inclined projection ማለት አንድ ኦብጀክት ከሆነ ቦታ certain angle ፈጥሮ angle theta projected ሲሆን inclined projection ነው ብለናል እዚህ ጋር ግን horizontal projection ማለት if the object is projected horizontally or launched horizontally horizontal projection እንላለን for example if this is a building ይሄ building ከሆነ ከዚህ building ላይ if the ball is kicked horizontally kicked ሲሆን ይሄ object trajectory or the path followed by the projected body looks like this ስለዚህ horizontal projection የሚሆን inclined projection totally projectile motion it is a two-dimensional motion no two-dimensional motion ማለት there is displacement along the x-axis and there is also displacement along the y-axis ያ ማለት ነው project two-dimensional motion ማለት አንድ object two-dimensional motion ነው ከተባለ displacement along x እና displacement along y ይኖረዋል velocity along x velocity along y ይኖረዋል acceleration along x acceleration along y ይኖረዋል ማለት ነው 3 dimensional ከተባለ acceleration along x acceleration along y acceleration along z ይኖረዋል ያሉት ኳንቲቲዎች acceleration የሚሆን velocity displacement የሚሆን 3 dimensional ነው ከተባለ በሶስቱም ዳይሜንሽን ላይ ምን አለ ማለት ነው ዲስፕሌስመንት ይኖራል ቬሎሲቲ ይኖራል አክሰለሬሽን ይኖራል ማለት ነው እዚህ ጋር ፕሮጀክታይል ሞሽን ቱ ዳይሜንሽናል ሞሽን ነው ማለት ነው ኤክስ ዋይ ፕሌን ላይ ነው ለምሳሌ አንድ ኦብጀክት ከዚህ ፕሮጀክት ሲሆን ሆሪዞንታሊ ሞሽኑን ፐርፎርም ያደርጋል ወደ ታችም እየተጓዘ ነው ማለት ነው ወደ ታችም እየተጓዘ ነው ሆሪዞንታሊ ከዚህ ጋር ኪክድ ሲሆን ሆሪዞንታሊ የሆነ ርቀት ሄዷል ወደ ታችም ወደ ከዋይ አክሲስ ወደ ታችም እየወደቀ ነው ማለት ነው two dimensional motion የተባለበት ምክንያት ለዚህ ነው so the ball is kicked from the building now when the ball is or any object is projected horizontally just like this the horizontal component of velocity is constant velocity along x-axis is never changed እዚህ ጋር ያለው velocity እና along x-axis እዚህ ጋር ያለው velocity along x-axis constant ነው ማለት ነው velocity along y-axis when the ball is projected horizontally initial velocity along y-axis 0 ነው የሚሆነው no velocity along y-axis when the ball is or any object is projected horizontally velocity along y-axis የለውም ማለት ነው initial velocity ከዛ ፕሮጀክት ከሆነ በኋላ የሆነ ቦታ ከደረሰ በኋላ velocity along y-axis ይኖራል because project የሆነ object it is under the influence of gravity because of this it possesses velocity along the y-axis it is under the influence of gravity እዚህ ጋር ሲደርስ along the x-axis constant ነው ራሱ እዚህ ጋር ያለው velocity along the x-axis እዚህ ጋር ካለው ጋር equal ነው ግን እዚህ የነበረው initial velocity along the y-axis እዚህ ጋር የሆነ value ይኖረዋል ዜሮ አይደለም እዚህ ጋር ሲደርስ ማለት ነው because under the influence of gravity ስለሆነ የሆነ value እየጨመረ ነው የሚሄደው ወደ ታች ሲሄድ በግራቪቲ አትራክት ስለሚደረግ gravitational force ማለት ነው velocity እየጨመረ ነው የሚሄደው ወደ ታች y axis velocity ማለት ነው x axis velocity ግን still it is constant therefore velocity along x-axis, that is v naught of x is equal to v of x. This is final velocity along x, which is equal to simply v naught, initial velocity. Constant no ማለት ነው. Constant ነው. But v naught of y is equal to 0. Initial velocity of y component is 0. Final velocity ግን 0 ሊሆን አይችልም. Final velocity ማለት the velocity at which the projected body strike the ground. That is velocity along y-axis. Look, acceleration along x-axis is 0. እዚህ ጋር velocity along x-axis constant ስለሆነ acceleration along x-axis is 0. Acceleration along x-axis is 0 because velocity along x-axis is constant. Velocity constant ስለሆነ acceleration 0 ነው የሚሆነው ማለት ነው. Acceleration along y-axis is equal to acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration along y-axis is equal to g, which is equal to 9.8 meter per second square. በዚህ ቫልዩ ነው accelerate የሚያደርገው ወደ ታች የሚሄደው ኦብጀክት በዚህ ቫልዩ ኦፍ acceleration accelerate ያደርጋል ወደ ታች ማለት ነው. accelerate ያደርጋል. Therefore, x-axis, the acceleration of x component is 0. Acceleration of y component is 9.8 meter per second square. Meter per second square. Okay. So, final velocity along y-axis, which is equal to initial velocity along y-axis plus gt. Here we use plus because the object is moving downward. When the object is moving downward, gravity is considered positively considered የምናደርገው ማለት ነው. Now, initial velocity for horizontal projection, initial velocity along y-axis is 0. This part will be 0. Initial velocity 0 ስለሚሆን velocity along y-axis is equal to gravity times time. Gravity times time. This is velocity along y-axis. Final velocity. Final velocity. Initial velocity v naught of x along the x-axis is equal to v naught simply, which is equal to v final. But this is the horizontal distance covered by the projected body x. Distance is equal to speed times time. Speed along x times time ነው የሚሆነው ማለት ነው. ይሄኛው horizontal distance ነው እየፈለግን ያለ ነው. Horizontal distance is equal to horizontal velocity along x times time. This is the horizontal distance covered by the projected body. ሌላኛው part, if this is y ማለት the place where the object is projected, height ነው ማለት ነው. ከሆነ distance ነው ያ ኳሱ ፕሮጀክት ሆነ የተለጋው ማለት ነው. ስለዚህ ያ let's say that height is y is equal to v naught of y times time plus 1/2 gt square. 1/2 gt square. ይሄ ማለት ምን ማለት ነው? s is equal to v initial t plus 1/2 at square. ከዚህ ነው የመጣው ማለት ነው ይሄ ፎርሙላ። y ማለት s distance ማለት ነው። height s is changed to y. v initial along y times time plus 1/2 acceleration is changed to gravity times t square. So v initial along y is 0. So this part will be 0. So y is equal to 1/2 gt square. 1/2 gt square is y. 1/2 gt square. This is the height from which the object is projected or launched. This is the horizontal distance covered by the projected body. This is horizontal projection. Horizontal projection. እዚህ ጋር አንድ ኤግዛምፕል አለን። አንድ ኤግዛምፕል look, a military airplane is flying horizontally at a speed of 120 meters per second and drops a package at an elevation of 8,000 meters. How much time is required for the package to reach the ground? It says. A. How much time is required for the package to reach the ground? So, to determine this, y or the height from which the package is dropped is y. Let's say this is edge. This is 8,000. The plane is moving here to the right at 120 meters per second. 120 meters per second. And the package is dropped. How much time is required for the package to reach the ground? It is released here. The package is moving down. What time is consumed by the package that is dropped from the plane? Therefore, y is equals to v initial of y times time plus 1 over 2 gt square. V initial of y, velocity for horizontal projection, velocity along y axis is 0. ስለዚህ ይሄ part 0 ይሆናል. This is y. Let's say this is y. So y is equals to 1 over 2 gravity times time square because initial velocity 0 ስለሚሆን ይሄ part 0 ይሆናል። So ከዚህ ጋር ማንን መፈለግ ነው ማለት ነው? ታይምን መፈለግ ነው ማለት ነው። So t square is equals to 2y of y over gravity. 2y of y over gravity. 2 times y is 8,000 over, let's say gravity is 10 meters per second square. እዚህ ጋር ቀለል ለማድረግ 10ን እንጠቀም instead of g. So t square is equals to 0 is cancelled by 0. This is 16. We have 0 is cancelled. So t is equals to under root of 60, 0. This is 40 meter per 40 second. 40 second. This is the time used by the projected body from the plane to reach the ground. Next, B. How far does it travel horizontally to reach the ground? The projected body. እዚህ ጋር ፕሮጀክት የሆነው ኦብጀክት how far does horizontally cover the horizontal distance covered by the projected body. So ይሄ ማለት x ነው። x is equals to v naught of x times time. V naught of x is equal to simply v naught. V is constant along x-axis. V naught times time is equals to horizontal distance. V naught ማለት 120 meters per second. This is V naught. So this is equal to 120 times time is 40 is already calculated. This is equal to 3600 meter. ይሄን ያህል ዲስታንስ ነው ከቨር ያደረገው ሆሪዞንታሊ ሙቭ ያደረገው ያ ድሮፕድ የሆነ ኦብጀክት ሆሪዞንታሊ 360 ሜትር ከቨር አድርጓል ማለት ነው። ጀስት ከላይ ሲወርቅ አንድ ኦብጀክት ምንም ሆሪዞንታሊ ዲስታንስ ከዚህ ጋር ድሮፕድ ሲሆን ቀጥ ብሎ ወደ ታች አይወርቅም። የሆነ ዲስታንስ ሆሪዞንታሊ ከቨር ያደርጋል ዱቱ ኢንፍሉዌንስ ኦፍ ኤር ሬዚስታንስ ሊሆን ይችላል። ኤኒ አዘር ቲንግ ሆሪዞንታሊ ቀጥ ብሎ አይደለም የሚወርቀው ማለት ነው። the horizontal distance covered by the projected body is 360 meter horizontal distance. The last question is velocity along x-axis, velocity along y-axis, and v. This is the resultant velocity. So, see, Vx is equal to V naught, which is equal to 120. ይሄ ምንም መስራት አያስፈልግም 120 ሜትር ፐር ሰከንድ ቬሎሲቲ along x axis is constant ስለሆነ 120 ሜትር ፐር ሰከንድ ነው ማለት ነው። velocity along y axis is equal to V naught of y plus gt. V naught of y 0 ስለሆነ ይሄ ፓርት 0 ነው። this is equal to gravity times time. Gravity, let's say 10 times time is 40. This is equal to 400 meter per second. This is velocity along y-axis. But the resultant velocity is equal to resultant velocity ምንለው v. V square is equal to Vx square plus Vy square. So V is equal to square root of Vx square plus Vy square ይሆናል ማለት ነው። So this is equal to Vx is 120 square plus Vy square 400 square. This is V. ይሄንን ሲምፕሊፋይ አድርጎ ማስቀመጥ ነው የሚሆነው። This is the resultant velocity along x axis square plus velocity along y axis square. The sum of the two under radical square አድርገን resultant velocityውን እናገኛለን። Generally አንድ ኦብጀክት ሆሪዞንታሊ ፕሮጀክት ሲሆን acceleration along x axis is 0. Acceleration along y axis is equal to acceleration due to gravity, that is 9.8 meter per second square. Velocity, initial velocity of y component is 0 for horizontal projection, whereas velocity along x axis is constant throughout the motion. This is all about this video. That means horizontal projection. ቀጣይ ቪዲዮ በሌላ type of motion, that is circular motion, projectile motion ስለምለው ጨርሰናል እዚህ ላይ ማለት ነው። circular motion is also a two-dimensional motion. እሱን ዲስከስ እናደርጋለን. it is also another type of kinematics ነው። two-dimensional kinematics ነው ማለት ነው። እሱን እናያለን። ቀጣይ ቪዲዮ እንዲደርሳችሁ ላይክ፣ ሰብስክራይብ፣ ሼር እንድታደርጉ በትህትና ጠይቃችኋለሁ። አመሰግናለሁ።